Hey guys, so this video has been in the making for such a long time. I've been meaning to film a studio tour basically since I started this channel. But you know what it's like, a studio or an office is never really finished, and I kept putting it off because I need to wait for that one piece of gear to come in, and then I'll shoot the studio tour. Needless to say, that moment never came until now because I literally can't wait any longer. Let me explain, let's ramble.
Hold up, place go wild when I pull up. They all on me like it wants.
Hey, what's up guys? It's great to see you all again, and if you're new here, I'm Patrick and this is where I ramble about tech and other stuff. So like I said in the intro, I literally couldn't wait any longer to do this studio tour because I'm moving out of my little studio, which is essentially a spare bedroom in our house and into a proper studio space. There's a couple of reasons for this. One is that our little family just grew by 2 little ramblers, so now it's me and 4 ladies in this house. There's Patty, there's my 6-year-old, and now we have the twins here. And as you can imagine, that's a lot of interruptions on a daily basis. And don't get me wrong, they are lovely interruptions, but interruptions nonetheless. So it really was time to move back to working away from home. The second and probably more pressing reason is that I have outgrown this tiny home studio. And I don't mean that I'm such a huge channel now that I must have a massive studio. I mean, I literally can't fit the stuff that I need to make these videos into this tiny space anymore. And you'll see exactly how tiny it is in just a minute, because on camera, with the right angles, it doesn't look that small. But everybody who has seen my videos and then stepped into my office, their first reaction has always been, wait, what? That's it? I had the camera do a little 360 for you guys so you get a general idea of what I mean. Having said all that, I do feel that I really have been able to optimize this tiny space. Every inch has been considered carefully, and pretty much everything in here serves a specific purpose. So let's start with the desk, aka the command center. I'll talk about everything that's on there and why, and then we'll move on to the rest of the space, and hopefully you can draw some inspiration for your own space. So very quickly, the desk itself is nothing you haven't seen before. It's the good old YouTube special, which means 2 Alex drawer units and a Carlby kitchen countertop, both from IKEA. On top of that, you will find my not so minimal desk setup. And this is one of the reasons I can't wait to get out of this space, because I do actually like a minimal desk. But everything on this desk serves a purpose. I'm gonna have to ask you to excuse the cable management or lack thereof. I'm usually better about that, but since I'm moving out, I just couldn't be bothered. Right, driving the entire setup is my brand spanking new 14-inch M1 Max MacBook Pro. I'm absolutely in love with this thing. It can handle everything I throw at it and then some. I also really like that we got some of the ports back. In my opinion, they should have never been taken away, but let's not go there today. Pretty much all the wooden and felt desk accessories are by a company called Grovemade. They make the most beautiful premium accessories, and they have been very generous in the past by sending me their products to review and to enjoy. My favorite piece is this little riser thing, which gives me more space to work with. These IKEA tops are very long, but they're not very deep. So this is a great solution to fit more stuff. My main monitor is an LG ultra-wide 4K monitor with a slight curve. I forget the exact model, but don't worry, I'll put links to everything in the description below. On top of the monitor is this really cool light by BenQ. It's basically an alternative for a desk lamp, and it gives a really nice light to work with. You would think that it shines into the display, but it doesn't. It just casts a really pleasant light over your keyboard and your workspace. You can choose the color temperature, the brightness, and it can even adjust itself to the ambient surroundings. Right next to my ultra-wide, I have this beautiful monitor by a company called Innovators. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. They sent me this monitor to review, and all I can say is that I absolutely love the vibrant colors on this thing. It is not color accurate, at least not for video, and I have not color calibrated it, but since I do all my color grading on the ultra wide, which is calibrated, I can just leave this monitor in all of its vibrant glory. And it is surprisingly inexpensive. You can check the link in the description for the current price. It comes with a really nice stand, but because I wanted to use this vertically, I mounted it to this heavy-duty VESA arm. If I can give you one piece of advice, that would be to invest in a quality VESA arm. Don't buy the cheap ones on Amazon. You'll end up frustrated and buying a more expensive one after all. And as my friend Sagi from Tech Gear Talk likes to say, buy it nice or buy it twice. Just a little side note here, you will see a lot of gear in this video, and some of it is very expensive. Please don't think that you need all that to get started on YouTube. I've acquired these things over the years, and I've done so by investing every single penny I made on YouTube back into the channel. If you have a phone and some window light, that's enough to get you started. You'll find out soon enough what you need and you can gradually buy it. Gear matters in the long run, but don't let that keep you from getting started. Right, on the left, you see a couple of things I use for both live streams and video calls, as well as podcasts. The centerpiece there is the Rodecaster Pro. If you're looking for an all-in-one audio mixer, recorder, and interface, you really can't go wrong with a Rodecaster. They even came out with a second one just recently. It runs this mic, which is the Shure SM7B. It is a fantastic mic. The official reason I have it is that it's the industry standard, but secretly we all have it because Joe Rogan uses it and we want to be as cool as him. Right above it, you see a teleprompter by Glide Gear, and you might be wondering what the heck is a teleprompter doing on your desk? But I swear this is the best hack ever. Inside, there is my Canon EOS R that I use as a webcam whenever I'm not using it as a B cam for my videos. The HDMI cable runs into the ATEM Mini Pro, which is basically an HDMI switcher on steroids. Below the teleprompter is a 7-inch monitor from FieldWorld that also runs into this ATEM Mini Pro. And lastly, my computer also runs into it. What that does is that I can use this little portable monitor as an external display, and because the image is flipped, I can mirror that into the glass of the teleprompter. So now I can look straight into my camera while literally looking my colleagues in the eye. But I could also use it as an actual teleprompter during a business call and read my presentations from the prompter without ever breaking eye contact. I'm telling you, if you don't have one of those, get it. I did an entire video on it. I'll link to that video at the end of this one. The little speakers are actually small studio monitors. They're called Audio Engine A2 Plus, I think, and they give a really nice flat sound profile, which is great for editing videos. I will use them for general referencing, and if I need to get really precise, I'll use these headphones by Rode. They just came out and I absolutely love the way they feel and sound. Over here, I have a little all-in-one charging station by Nomad. They make really nice premium leather accessories. Next to my computer is my little Stream Deck. Now, I'm not a streamer, but you can program that thing to do literally anything. It's basically just a set of macro keys, and I have it set up for productivity mainly. So I can control my Zoom, my calls, my emails, social media, the lights in my office, even my security cameras. It's all just a button away. Below the riser, I've mounted 2 Thunderbolt 4 hubs by Anker because the MacBook doesn't have enough of them. And a card reader for all my cards, including CF Express Type B, which I need for my Canon R5. This thing here is called the Tourbox Neo, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. It is basically a controller for creative apps. I use it for Final Cut Pro, which is my video editing app of choice, and it's super convenient. It makes editing so much faster. I did a video on that as well. I'll link to it below. The mouse is the MX Master 3, which is just the best mouse around currently. That's not a discussion, it's just facts. On the far right, you will see that YouTube subscriber counter. A lot of you guys have been asking me about it because it's in the background of a lot of my videos. It's called the Pixu 64 by Devoom. It's a pixel display, so you can put whatever you want on there. I just keep the sub counter on there 24/7 because it motivates me to do better. Right, so that's the desk pretty much sorted. But at least equally important is the desk chair. I'm a huge believer in investing in a decent chair. Most of us spend a lot of hours a day sitting in a chair, so in my opinion, that's really not where you want to be cutting costs. If you're an OG to the channel, you've probably seen me using one of those little Hog Capisco chairs, and while I love how nimble they are, I found that for longer editing sessions, I really wanted something more comfortable, something I could stay seated in for several hours without getting a sore back. The kind people at Autonomous sent me their Ergo Chair Pro a couple months ago, and I absolutely love it. I haven't reviewed it yet because I wanted to use it for a good while first, but it's super comfortable and it lets me adjust pretty much anything. Height, recline, stiffness, even the armrest, which is especially useful when editing so I can rest my forearms on the desk so I don't get cramps. And now that it's getting hotter outside again, I'm so happy about this mesh back. I can't tell you how much of a difference that makes. It's nice and airy and you won't get a sweaty back. Plus, it has an adjustable lumbar support, which is great for me because I have an arched back and that gives me the support I need. All right, we've seen the desk, we've seen the chair, now let's have a look at the studio. Most of the things I'll show you now are things you generally won't see in my videos, like these lights. I have 2 of these in opposite corners of the room, basically to emulate daylight. I do have windows, but the blinds have not been opened since 2020. Reason for that is that I can't control the sun, but I sure can control these lights, and that makes shooting videos a hell of a lot easier. These lights are cheap ones by Godox. They have their flaws and I will replace them at some point, but they do the trick. Above my main monitor, there are these foam acoustic panels. They're sound panels, so they're designed to get rid of some of the echo. I guess they work a little bit, but most of all, they just look cool. Now, when I told you this room is tiny, I wasn't lying. As you can see, I can almost touch the walls in this place. Speaking of walls, if you've been to this channel before, you've definitely seen this wall. It's the main background for a lot of my videos, and a lot of you guys have asked me about the stone on the walls. It's not stone. This is actually styrofoam made to look like stone. It looks dope, but it's also excellent soundproofing. Above it, you can see some photo paper backdrops that I used in the beginning of the channel, but I don't really use it anymore. Except the gray one. I will pull that down sometimes when I'm on a video call with a client that have no interest in Patrick Rambles. All they'll see is a gray wall. The neon sign was custom made by a company called Yellow Pop, and it's been great. It's not actually neon, it's LED like most neon signs these days. And below the sign, you'll see a Nanlite Pavo tube. It's the original one. A new version of it came out recently as well, and I'll be showing you those two. I absolutely love Nanlite. I had this original light in my shopping basket for such a long time before I finally pulled the trigger and bought it, but I've been absolutely obsessed with it. And I really want to shout out Nanlite as a company because I approached them not too long ago to see if they would sponsor one of their newer Pavo tubes for one of my videos, and they were so awesome about it. Not only did they sponsor the light, they sent me 2 of those lights, and then they sent me a key light as well, which I'll get back to later. These lights are so good and so versatile, you can make any space look amazing with those lights. So again, huge shout out to Nanlite for supporting us smaller creators as well. Most of the smaller accent lights you see, like behind my desk and behind the shelves, are Philips Hue lights. They're not great for video because they can flicker at certain frame rates, but they look nice as decoration. So this is the desk you will see me sitting at whenever I do product reviews. It's a sit-stand desk by FlexiSpot. They sent me this last year and it's really awesome. You can program it to go to certain preset heights, or you can just move it up and down by pressing a button. I did replace the tabletop it came with this IKEA one because I needed a deeper desk for the product shots, but that's the beauty of those desks. The legs are so strong, they can carry any desktop so you can use whatever you want. So whenever I do a product video, I'll move this desk forward, I'll sit against the wall, and I'll have 3 cameras on me. The main A-roll camera that I'll show you in a minute, I'll have a B-cam on me from the side that shows both me and the product, and that will usually be my Canon EOS R. And then I have one more camera mounted overhead, and for me that's the Sony ZV-1, which is nice and light, so it's perfect for that kind of stuff. There's also a little Amaran light with a huge softbox to make sure the product is nice and visible. I will usually use 1 or more Nanlite Pavo tubes as fill lights or hair lights. Ideally, I would like to replace all my lights with Nanlites, but hey, one step at a time. By the way, you will have noticed that most of my lights are mounted to these poles. They're called vari-poles or auto poles depending where you buy them, and they extend out using pressure so you don't have to drill any holes, which is perfect if you're renting your place or if you just don't like to drill holes. On the opposite side of the main desk and to the left of this black wall is the shelving unit. It's also from IKEA and I put it there to hold some stuff, but mainly because it looks really nice. I did plan to use it as a third set, if you will, but I hardly ever film in this angle. It's usually just visible in the background when I'm filming my B-roll for products. There's a little scanner. I don't like to keep paper around, so that's perfect for me. Some gimbals, a couple of pod mics that I can highly recommend as the perfect beginner podcast mics. Super quality for a small price. I really love this Marshall Bluetooth speaker that Patty bought me for my birthday one year. And here I keep some of my Canon RF lenses. 90% of the time I'll be using my 15-35 and my 24-70, but every now and then I want to get fancy and I'll use the 50mm right here. It's a super fast lens, great for portraits and for B-roll. Same for this 85mm, absolute beast of a lens, and I should definitely be using that much more. My latest acquisition is this 100mm RF macro lens, and it's absolutely fantastic for those really close shots of minute details on the products I review. On the sides of the shelves, you see more Nanlite Pavo tubes. These are actually the new versions, and I just love the soft light they produce, as well as the app connectivity. The artwork you see behind me are deconstructed iPhones. I really love those. I don't remember the company that sent them, but I will definitely link to them in the description. And very recently, I was also sent this deconstructed Apple Watch by a company called ReArt, but I'm waiting to move to the new space to hang it somewhere because I literally ran out of space here. This door is actually very cool. I've turned it into a charging door. Shout out to Becky and Chris for the idea. You probably know their channel, but if you don't, check them out. They make awesome content. This is where I charge pretty much all of my batteries. Empty ones go to the left side and full ones on the right. Moving on to the last wall of the room, and this is where I keep 2 storage units and my rolling studio stand. And there's a reason why I'm keeping that stand for last, because that thing is actually what makes it possible to be filming against all these different backdrops. These are 2 workbenches by HBM. I believe they're a local brand. Unfortunately, they don't sell Husky workbenches where I live, and this is the closest thing to it. These things are absolutely amazing, and I can highly recommend getting at least 1 workbench to keep all of your gear. As a YouTuber, you'll end up needing a lot of grip stuff and other bits and bobs, and these are ideal for storing those. I keep my little action cameras in there, batteries and hubs, sliders, screws, clamps, and down below, I keep my tripods and some other stuff, like my drone. I use the DJI Air 2S, and I can't wait to take it out again soon, now that the sun has found Belgium again. Alright, so let's move to the pièce de résistance, my little Frankenstein concoction, and I do have to shout out the godfather here, Caleb Pike. He's the one that came up with this idea, I think, and if not, he was definitely the guy that made it popular. This idea to put your camera, your microphone, your light, and everything else on one rolling stand is just genius. All I have to do to switch angles or backdrops is move my chair, roll this stand in front of me, and start recording. So for you nerds that are into camera gear, let me just take you through it. Powering everything are these 2 V-mount batteries by FX Lion. Next to that is the control box to this falconized flexible LED panel. Above that, there is the Mix Pre 3 Mark II, which has been an absolute game changer for me. This audio recorder has 32-bit float, which means I can scream into this thing or whisper. It doesn't matter. I can easily fix it in post without any clipping or distortion. Absolute magic. The mic running into it is the Rode NTG5, which has served me very well, but I'm looking to replace it because it needs to be very close to my mouth to get good audio, and I like to shoot wide shots, so that can be challenging. It's attached to an iFootage extendable arm, which is very convenient. I can adjust the mic however I want, fold it away when I don't need it. I'm using an Atomos Ninja 5, not just to monitor myself, but also because it fixes 2 problems my Canon R5 has: overheating and record limits. By recording into the Ninja 5 instead of the camera, I can record as long as I want without having to worry about overheating. And the files it spits out are 10-bit 422, which is super easy to edit in Final Cut Pro. So if you own an R5 and the overheating is driving you nuts, consider one of these. And of course, there is another teleprompter. I just like using them. It makes my workflow much faster because I don't mess up as much. The key light is a Falconized RX24. It's nice because of its flat profile, and this is a very small space, but I can't wait to take it off and replace it with my new Nanlite Forza 200, which is of course miles better and softer, but I do need a little bit more space for that. Once I've settled into the new studio, I will definitely do another studio tour again. I have some really cool ideas for that space that I can't wait to show you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed taking a peek in this little studio, and I hope you picked up maybe 1 or 2 useful tips that you can use in your own space. If you enjoyed the video, please give it one of these. It really does help the channel. Subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.